indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, first on the agenda is approval of the agenda. I need a motion for that, please.
Make a motion to approve.
I second the motion.
All in favor? Aye. Public comments? We have 2 today. Knob-Noster R8 School District. My family and I would like to thank you for thinking about us in our time of grieving. The white wicker basket of flowers adorn the graveside of our beautiful son. Dr. Wheeler says it often at district meetings, but we are truly a family at Knob-Noster. Matt, Gwen, Olivia, Mason. Coming together is a beginning. Keeping together is progress, and working together is success moving forward. To the Knob-Noster District Office and Board of Education, beautiful flowers sent to Danny after his stroke in June. He's a pretty tough guy, but that was a rough one. The support from family, friends, and the Knob-Noster School District family has been so amazing. You all mean the world to us, and he sends the peace sign to all. Love and blessings, Danny and Pam Evans. Whiteman report.
Right. Ken New Jr. filling in for Colonel Gooding. He got called away at the last minute, so doing my job filling in for him. Anyway, of course, we have a new wing commander on base, Colonel Nichols. On August 11th, there'll be a ceremony in which he'll become a brigadier. We're all looking forward. Also, we're happy to be participating in the back to school block party, 15th of August. We have a number of base agencies and volunteers participating in the annual party centers. With this, I'd like to turn the next one over to Ms. Munley, which is our back to school.
Okay, so I left some flyers back here for you, but we had the back to school meeting last year, and so this will be the second year we'll be holding it at Western Elementary School, and it is on the 8th of August. With this program, any of the military connected students can receive a free backpack, school supplies, just by attending. So come Monday, they're going to open it up for anyone that was born in this early as well. So we're just kind of hoping it can help us spread the word. I'm sending electronically, so hopefully we can get it pushed that way too. But we have 300 backpacks and supplies for everybody. On top of that, we have a medical group coming. We have the physical therapist, so we're talking about backpack safety, back safety, adjusting all the straps and everything for the students. And actually, it was a lot of fun last night, so we can have it pushed on. The remainder of the items that were left last year, we went ahead and donated to Knob-Noster School District back to Western Elementary for students that were in need, so we can have this.
That's it.
All right. Your principal and director's reports. So assistant superintendent report. It is presented as it is. Hopefully you read it. Special services as well. And the MSBA report.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Missouri School Boards Association's board report for the month of July. We thank you for the opportunity to share some news and information during a few minutes of your board meeting. We begin with a look at the development of Missouri's state plan required under the federal government's Every Student Succeeds Act. The plan will provide the framework by which programs associated with ESSA are administered. Those programs provide assistance to rural and low-income students, along with services to students who are migrants, at-risk, homeless, and English learners. Commissioner of Education, Dr. Margie Van Even, told an audience at MSBA's recent Leadership Summit, while the state's ESSA plan is important, the Missouri School Improvement Plan will remain the driving force for school accountability in our state.
So in Missouri, we have selected the Missouri School Improvement Program as our driver, as our driving force for accountability. ASSA aligns to that and will feed into that program. So we will be seeing some shifts, but primarily I would pay attention to MSIP 6 and what's happening there. ASSA we will still use as a big driver in identifying our schools in Title I who are most in need of direct services and supports that can be provided. So we will still be required to identify our lowest performing schools, and then we'll be able to support them accordingly, and that's based upon the math, English, language arts scores, and their attendance and graduation rates. So pay attention to that.
And even participated in a panel discussion at the Leadership Summit with State Board of Education Vice President Vic Lenz and MSBA Executive Director Melissa Randall. The Department of Elementary and Secondary Education will submit the state plan to the U.S. Department of Education in September. Meanwhile, work groups have been meeting to develop the standards to be included in the 6th version of the Missouri School Improvement Program. MSBA Executive Director Melissa Randall told the audience not to fall into the trap of criticizing private schools and homeschoolers when opposing vouchers. She says the real issue with vouchers is accountability.
The argument is about do we need a healthy, robust public education system to meet the needs of children. We shouldn't be in a debate on whether or not parents want to opt their children into private school or parents want to opt their children in homeschool. What we ought to be about is making sure that the public education system is robust, that it is, when we're spending public taxpayer dollars, that there's accountability, and both for the children, ultimately for the children, and certainly for how the tax dollars are spent. Now, if other institutions want to access that, they ought to play by the same rules, but this is not us versus them.
Randall says she expects voucher proposals such as education savings accounts to be discussed again during next year's legislative session. Meanwhile, the U.S. Supreme Court has issued a ruling in a case involving Trinity Lutheran Church in Columbia that was watched closely by the MSBA and other public education groups. The court ruled that the church is eligible to receive a state grant to resurface its playground. However, the ruling was quite narrow and did not address the issue of whether or not private schools could receive public money under the Missouri Constitution. The new president of the Missouri School Boards Association is Jan Neese of the Columbia Board of Education. She assumed the role of president at the end of the Leadership Summit after serving as president-elect this past year. During her remarks, she said challenging issues facing the public schools of Missouri are not going away.
Our voice has to continue to be strong and proactive, never giving up on our efforts to promote the power and potential of public education.
State officers elected at the June Delegate Assembly included President-elect Mike Pratt of the Gasconade County R1 Board of Education and Vice President Rhonda Gilstrap of the Blue Springs Board of Education. MSBA presented individual board members with awards for achieving various certification levels during the Leadership Summit. Awards were recognized as Outstanding Boards of Education for 2017, and 24 school boards achieved MSBA's Governance Team Award. One of the keynote speakers at the Leadership Summit was the current president of the National School Boards Association, Kevin Siak, a school board member from New Jersey. Siak reminded board members students entering kindergarten this year will be high school graduates in the year 2030. He said school boards need to think about the kind of leadership necessary to ensure that graduates of 2030 will be prepared for their future. He also stressed the importance of providing educational options within the public school system.
And what is the strategic asset that stands behind public schools? What makes them great? We serve all. So how do you take a model that's designed to serve all and lift a nation and secure its national security and translate that to a model that not only serves all, but also meets the demands of what individual parents want for their children?
MSBA delegates had the opportunity to discuss a draft of the association's advocacy positions document during the delegate assembly held at the Leadership Summit. During the past few months, the MSBA Advocacy Committee and Executive Committee have been working to combine the association's legislative resolutions, platform statements, and the Missouri Public Education Vision Project document into a single advocacy document that clearly states MSBA's positions on issues related to public education. Member boards now have the opportunity to submit amendments and new resolutions to be included in the document. The Advocacy Committee will consider those proposals along with the discussion of the June Delegate Assembly and submitted comments before sending a final draft of the advocacy document to the Delegate Assembly for final approval in early October. Registration for the 2017 MSBA Annual Conference in cooperation with the Missouri Association of School Administrators is now open. This year's event is scheduled for October 5th through 8th at the Lake of the Ozarks. You can register for the annual conference on the MSBA website. That's it for this month's edition of the MSBA Board Report. Thanks for allowing us to have some time at your board meeting, and so long from Columbia.
Okay, superintendent's report.
Good evening, everyone. Happy July, happy summer. Glad we have two fans that joined us in July, so thank you for being here. July has been a good month for us. We've taken some opportunity to catch our breath, and also central office staff has rotated through some time off with family. So we wound down fiscal year 17, and we kicked off new fiscal year. Our auditors were in today doing their preliminary meeting for the FY18 audit. So we're pleased to get into that. Just want to say thank you to Ms. Huntsman for the extra work along with the rest of the central office team to get us lined up on our audit in a very timely manner this year. And of course, we went very well. Financially speaking, probably the most notable point is what we've talked about in a couple of meetings now was the impact aid payment. As the board is aware, with the Trump budget, there were some cuts in the impact aid department, and that resulted in a delayed processing of impact aid payments. So we did not receive our heavily impacted payment during fiscal year 17. We're estimating that that's going to be around 1.3 to 1.5 million dollars that did not come into this fiscal year. So our revenues were less than expected in regards to impact aid. We do expect those to come in the next 4 to 6 weeks, and that will be reported in FY18. Not a big deal. The big focus on this is perception. So with that change in projected revenues, as well as the placement of our initial impact aid payment in Fund 4, we'll see a marked difference in our reserves in Fund 1 as we wrap up the year and kick off this week. So that should not be a surprise to anyone since we discussed that, but I did want to say that it did happen as anticipated. I'll keep the board updated when that does roll in, just so that we can stay up to speed. This summer, facilities-wise, several projects are completed and are currently underway. As you can see, outside. We're doing some in-house drain installation that will get rid of Lake Mount Oscar Elementary out front. Sadly, it was either that or hauling sand and palm trees, so we got rid of that. And we appreciate Scott and Dean for their efforts. High school is doing some resurfacing and striping on the parking lot, and we have concrete sidewalk repair going on. So I want to say thank you to Dean and Scott and the team for their efforts over the summer. Attached under administrative content, the board has received an email in regard to our upcoming trip to Washington, D.C., July 31st through August 2nd. We have embargoed information, so I won't share more than that, but we're excited to head out there and be a recipient of a reward. We'll come back and share that once it's made public on August 1st. And we want to thank President Diggs for joining Mr. Ford and myself and other members of our team for going out for that conference. So our final numbers for enrollment and attendance for the year: Nonmaster High School 369 with a 95.61 attendance rate. Nonmaster Middle School 496 with a 95.71 attendance rate. Nonmaster Elementary 409 with a 95.74. Whiteman Elementary 346 at 95.49. And District Total 1620 at a 95.64. Those are the end enrollments and represent the total number of students enrolled at any point during the year. Our average daily attendance was at 1,390.64 for this year. Summer school-wise, Nonmaster Middle School, High School at 177. Nonmaster Elementary School at 247. Whiteman Elementary 213 for a district total of 637. Overall attendance rate of 91.19. Average daily attendance during summer school was 539.71. And financial reports month ending, balances all funds $10,004,310. Revenues for the year $15,445,126, which was 96.10% of anticipated. Expenditures $16,591,132, which was 101.7% of budget. Silver lining on that is our revenue streams in local, county, and state were trending in a positive direction, which helped out with that. So we will continue to watch that, have them back, and pull the revenue, historical revenue data by source, and we'll include that in the August meeting so that we can compare that. But trending looks good. Yesterday, we received the pre-board of equalization numbers for our assessments, which we'll talk about in our tax rate hearing. The only real thing to report there is last year we had that increase in personal property associated with the county assessed railroad and utilities, and that we talked last year about watching that closely, that it may be a one-time revenue stream, and that is off the books. So that's going to result in probably a decrease of about $50,000 in local revenues based on those utilities. So we'll talk more about that at the tax rate hearing, but that's the newest news that we have, and there may be some adjustments to that for the board of equalization. So that concludes my report.
Next is consent agenda. I need a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Make a motion to consent agenda.
All in favor? Aye. New business, approval of bills requiring extensions. I need a motion to approve the bills requiring extensions.
Make a motion to approve the bill requiring extension.
resolution? All in favor? Aye. Need a motion to approve the bills as presented?
I make a motion to approve the bills presented.
All in favor? Aye. Next up is motion to approve the 2017-18 regular meeting dates of the Board of Education as presented.
So just a couple of comments on this. I feel like this year's done pretty well on the third Wednesday at 6 o'clock. This schedule reflects the schedule that we ran this year for fiscal year 17. This August date, I moved back a week. What that will do is allow us to some advantage, not just in processing that tax rate hearing, but also we'll be able to possibly see where some other people place their levy, which may come into play with how we place ours. So we'll look at that August 23rd. The other exception in December, we would move that up a week early because of the Christmas holiday break. And then that April 11th, we would go a week early, so we certify within 14 days of the board election. And then this June 18th board planning session, that's again scheduled on that Monday before our June meeting. That's subject to influence, but the rest of these are our normal meetings.
This would need a motion.
Make a motion.
All in favor? Aye. We need a motion to set the 2017 tax rate hearing time and date as presented.
So this serves as one public notice of the tax rate hearing. We will also publicize this in a local paper. I'm proposing that we hold the tax rate hearing at 5:40 p.m. Wednesday, August 23rd, 2017, immediately preceding the regular board meeting.
I need a second.
A second.
All in favor? Aye. This is for information purposes only, the district assessment plan.
So the plan for this coming school year is going to look much exactly like it did last year. So actually the presentation looks exactly like what we beginning of the year last year. The only change that is on there, you'll see that we're actually going to test 4 different times throughout the school year instead of 3. The reason why we decided to add that 4th section there is, and there'll actually be another optional session for the teachers as well, is when it comes to that, comes to our parent-teacher conferences, we just wanted to have a script data a little bit. So each building in this slide is going to look exactly the same for each building. We'll test in August and September, and then we'll test again in December, and then March, and then one in May. There is an optional test for any students that are reading kind of on that lower around the vowel. So the elementary will be testing in STAR, early literacy, and Math 360, or STAR 360 and Math 360. Middle school, same dates, and high school, same dates. That's it. That's what I have.
Next up is the district professional development calendar.
So our professional development calendar has been shared out with you guys as well. There have been a few revisions on this as far as adding some PDN, which is our professional development network that we are also involved with through the Greater Kansas City School District. And Dr. Robinson actually attend those meetings for us. But on this, basically, it's going to lay out the plan for our professional development for our teachers. And I believe there's 5 different PDN offerings that we actually implement as well. Unless you have any questions on the plan,
Well, thank you for putting that together, because I know that was important.
actually they are on there. So those, the linked ones there are professional development network offerings. And what the link does is the link actually takes our teachers directly to the website to be able to apply to go there. And then over on the side, there's a map to link to the Google Map to be able to get to where they need to go to. And then each one of those is also linked with our professional development log. And that has streamlined the whole process for the teachers turning in their professional development hours. So one click, and they can just go in there.
That is awesome.
And it's got a great picture up at the top. So teachers will actually click on that log, and then they just click in any of those boxes, go down to the bottom and submit it. They can submit this after each one. They can go at the end of the year and submit it. What we were finding was the teachers got to the end of the year, they hadn't submitted their logs, and then they were trying to think back about all the dates and the professional development that they were actually attending. And this will actually tell them whether they were there or not. So when it boils it down to, if you're a coach, this is where you were, or hopefully you were there. And then new teachers, all teachers, all staff. So it really kind of streamlines the process and doesn't make them have to think about all the professional development that they've done within the district. There is a next page on there for any outside of district that they do. I obviously don't have that information, so they do have to review that. That's that teachers do 30 hours of professional development, and we'll offer development.
Would there be a specific training time for all teachers? Will this change to the website so they'll understand where they're putting it, how they're going to go back and retrieve it later? Entire concept.
Could you clarify that, Tom? Are you asking about what Tina's presenting on the website itself, the new website, or on
The combination needs the growth of this being involved in the website. It's going to go somewhere and be stored, and then you have to go back and find it, pull it out, the other district, and neighborhood. Is that all going to be part of it?
This actually isn't part of the website, so this is done through Google Docs and Google Forms. And I send this out to the entire staff. And then what I'll do periodically, usually right after a professional development day, I'll send it back out and I'll get 200 responses to the yes, I would do.
So it won't be part of PD, so to speak. You're going to handle this manual that after you're going to digest.
Correct. Actually, it's a great idea to have this to the professional development day.
So just so we're clear, are you, I'm hearing you say website as well, and we are
I guess would be a better.
network website. That we will do training sessions. We have some of those, I want to say, for the key building communication reps and others in early August, maybe. And then teachers will have some as well. So right now, we're not going to roll out the teacher pages until we get the basics of the new website up. And then that will have a component that we can go through training and add in. And each teacher will have their page. And the good thing is, the new site is very intuitive and easy to navigate, and they can also, we talked about the ability for, a lot of teachers will have their own sites outside of our district site, and they we're going to allow them to continue to link those in. But all of that will anchor back to a teacher page. And if they don't have anything outside, they can also do everything right there within our network. So should be pretty handy, and it's coming along. It's an undertaking for sure.
Well, I just kind of, when I hear professional development, I assume it's all involving. And I'm not sure that some of the teachers don't have that concept as well, that it shouldn't begin with the letter A and end with the letter Z, or wherever it interprets to. And I just want to make certain that teachers are all going to be aware of where they will find this and how they go back to find it. As we the school year, they have to do some involvement.
Mr. Coron has done he's gone above and beyond to communicate out to the staff and re-communicate, and teachers, good teachers in their classroom will implement. A lot of teachers will say, ask 3 before me, and if they don't know, and they ask 3 friends, they'll probably get their answer before they ever have to contact us. But he's done a good job of replicating that communication.
And we use that same blog, well, not the same one, I put a better picture up top, not but we used a similar model last year, so the teachers are familiar with it. It went off very well this year. We didn't have one person that didn't have the professional development.
As soon as we started trying to make the flatter.
That's good.
Thank you.
Because I'm always, the urban anyway. Stuff up. All right, on to old business. Our MSBA policy 2017A update, and these are just for our second readings.
So I know we had, last month we had some questions on the first reading regarding impacts to the budget. So I went back and reviewed. In that 2017A set, we have IGCE, which is regarding district-sponsored instructional options. And the big change here is if we include dual credit courses in our dual enrollment courses in, let me make sure I get this, in the district's curricular offerings, then we have to pick up the cost of that tuition fees and books. So currently, that if students at the high school choose to enroll in dual credit, and with that dual credit, they have historically just paid the fee themselves to get that college credit. This policy changes that to where that will become the district's responsibility. As you guys know from the last meeting, we entered into the Innovation Track program with the University of Central Missouri, which would be a dual credit type partnership. So there will be some expense involved with this. The good thing is the majority of our students right now, we had about 150 enrollments in our advanced placement courses this year, and we had about 20 enrollments in dual credit. So we're thinking that we're going to be, as on average, based on what I was told by the high school, we'd be looking at about roughly 10,000 plus or minus cost on picking up these dual credit courses. But again, we continue to expand our advanced placement courses. That is supplemented by our GoDia grant, and we will also have at the end of that grant cycle an opportunity to renew that. So it's a significant consideration, especially as we grow that innovation track, but it's certainly not going to be a tremendous addition to the budget. But that is the only big line item that I would see in this 2017 A policy revision in terms of budget impact. And I did submit that for second reading. That the board can approve that tonight, or we can wait and do a third reading and approval in August. I did submit for second reading in case there may be other questions.
Are there any questions on this? Then I make a motion that we approve the MSBA 2017-8 policy updates as presented.
Make it.
All in favor? Aye. MSBA 2017-B policy update.
Okay, so I think these sound a little bit scarier than what they were. There was a lot of language in here regarding federal funds. On policy DD, it specifically talked about grants and the requirement for grant reporting. There would be obviously some significant costs in this, but with all of our federal grants, there is a component in there that allows us to assign a grant coordinator, and a portion of that grant coordinator's responsibility would be the tracking and management of the grant funds, the purchases, and the evaluation. So there are embedded costs into that. Each grant that, or at least the larger grants, call for a portion not to exceed a certain percent of those grant funds to establish this person. So that's not only for compliance for them, but for us as well. So this would be a moving target, but it would be, it should not significantly increase any expenditures from local funds. It would be embedded into the grant proceeds. And then the only other one that I felt like was worth mentioning regarding budget is this. Policy BID regarding inventory management. And this is something that Mr. Davis and I talked about at length. There are lots of really nifty ways that you can get electronic inventory tags and put those on devices and make the streamlining of inventory pretty efficient and quick. As of right now, we would probably rely on a more traditional approach, which is by program or department and then pull that together. That's for existing assets. As new assets are brought into the district and purchased, we go through an inventory process that's maintained in our libraries. They do books and equipment, and then certainly the technology department maintains a full inventory on new technology-related equipment. SPED does the same with all of their inventory. We would probably remain with that approach, which would be intensive of time for many people, but the bottom line cost is going to be embedded into the time of many people. That's something that we're already doing. The question on that, in terms of to be determined, is if we wanted to do some kind of electronic inventory tag and scanner, but at this time we don't have plans to do that.
Are there any questions or concerns on this, any of these policies on the second reading?
Actually, I did a little comment on distribution line, and good technology. Had to review a report for the significant amount of devices that the barcode reader not very strong. keep that in mind. Do some research before you buy that material and the software associated with it. Because it's not as foolproof as we ended up having with one trial, very substantial. So you have to go back.
You guys did this practical stealthy.
You know, it was computers and computer technology.
I was teasing.
We kind of imagine we have a side.
I've kind of heard the same thing, so like I said, we don't have plans to do that, and maybe let the bugs work out and maybe to that, but those inventory tags aren't cheap either. You know, so
They're not.
gotcha. Thank you.
All right, there's no other concerns or questions. I make a motion that we approve MSBA 2017B policy updates as presented. I'll make the first motion. All in favor? Aye. And this is a motion to approve the handbooks as presented. This was a second reading for us. So I need a motion.
I did notice one or two small steps. And I'm sure it doesn't really matter as the work goes on. But the high school, the building opens at 7:30, and lunch and breakfast program starts at 7. Good stuff, I think. Other than that, I make a motion that we approve the handbooks.
There are several
Formatting errors. We'll go through and look at formatting and check out that discrepancy and see if we have any questions for those. Contact you.
So we have.
So I'll get those amended. We can go ahead and
Make a motion.
Is there a reason why the middle school one has the new teacher?
You speak up onto your mic.
Is there a reason that the middle school has a new teacher handbook and no other school has a?
I think they may have those that are informal. But the other one that was brought forward for presentation was from the middle school.
I'll make the same comment I did last year. As a school district, it seems like a lot of the same information presented, seems like a lot of people's comment to do, that there are not many differences between the different schools. Just seems redundant.
So when you're saying that a book for every school on the teacher handbook is redundant?
I'm saying if you look at the high school, the middle school, the elementaries, 99% of that information is verbatim.
Yeah, so why would we just have, I mean, unless there's a difference, they're all probably just something else. Like Noah said, what Noah said, there's one handbook for faculty. So if they have to sign off on the handbook, then everything's covered in one handbook. I hope we're not printing handbooks, or putting handbooks out there for each individual school that's in the district. See what I'm saying? If we're paying for four different handbooks, and we can pay for one handbook, it would be more cost effective.
There might maybe be a consolidate.
That's exactly.
The time, and there's certain things that are different for school.
Well, yes, but in each handbook, you could have a, you know, it could stipulate that in a generalized handbook. So, and I haven't seen the handbook, all I've seen is the online version of what we see. But if there's an actual handbook, the fact that it's redundant is going to be a lot more expensive for four schools as opposed to district-wide.
Do they get this as a printout, or do they just do it as electronic?
They're all up to
It is printed for students.
That's a good question.
Is there a second?
But we haven't got a second.
A second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Wow. I feel like we're missing something. Oh, the motion to adjourn.
Say motion to adjourn the meeting.
A second motion.
Roll call vote.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. 47 minutes.